The forgiveness of sins. Jesus established his kingdom and gave his apostles the power to forgive sins. He breathed on them, and said to them, "Receive the Holy Spirit. If you forgive the sins of any, they are forgiven. If you retain the sins of any, they are retained." John 20:21. There are many gatherings in the life of the church. In the parish context, we hear of parish councils, finance councils, and the like. A diocese might have a presbyteral council, but typically when we speak of church councils, we are speaking of ecumenical councils. This is the context most directly described by the Catholic Encyclopedia's definition. The term ecumenical is derived from a Greek term, ekumenē, that refers to the whole world. When used in the context of church affairs, ecumenical refers to matters that pertain to the universal church. This is a term we hear fairly often, whether it is describing ecumenical dialogue or efforts toward ecumenism. When describing a council, it means that bishops from all over the world are involved, teaching in union with the Pope, addressing matters that will affect the entire universal church. The First Lateran Council, the Ninth Ecumenical Council, was held in Rome from March 1123 AD to resolve a dispute within the Pope and Emperor regarding the authority to appoint bishops. The council promulgated 22 canons. The First Lateran Council 1123 AD was held in Rome under Pope Callistus II and is traditionally regarded as the first ecumenical council of the medieval West. It followed closely after the Concordat of Worms, 1122 AD, which ended the long conflict between church and state over lay investiture. The council confirmed this agreement, affirming the church's freedom in the election and ordination of bishops while formally ending imperial control over ecclesiastical offices. The council focused primarily on church reform and discipline, issuing canons against simony, clerical concubinage, and abuses of ecclesiastical authority. It reinforced episcopal authority over church governance, prohibited lay interference in church property and appointments, and strengthened protections for clergy, pilgrims, and crusaders. Lateran I also reaffirmed clerical celibacy and regulated monastic life under episcopal oversight. Lateran I was the first ecumenical council since the schism from Constantinople in 1054 AD. The Second Lateran Council, the 10th Ecumenical Council, was held in Rome from April 1139 AD to confirm the legitimate pope's claim as after the death of Pope Honorius II. In February 1130 AD, Anacletus II claimed to be the legitimate successor, which he was not. The council promulgated 30 canons. The Second Lateran Council was held in Rome during Lent under Pope Innocent II, with at least 500 bishops and abbots attending. It met in the Lateran Basilica from April 2, 1139 until Che 17 April. The council was called in to discuss Pope Innocent II and the anti-pope Anacletus II claim to papal authority / with Anacletus I dead and unity largely restored, helped strongly by Saint Bernard of Clairvaux. The council sought to stabilize the church, condemn schismatic acts, and renew discipline. The council's 30 canons strongly reinforced reform. It condemned simony, buying / selling ordinations and church offices, tightened rules around excommunication, and targeted clerical abuses in dress and conduct. It reasserted clerical continence / celibacy, invalidating marriages attempted by those in major orders, restricted monks and canons from pursuing civil law / medicine for profit, and opposed lay control of tithes, churches, and benefices. It also addressed public order, upheld the truce of God, condemned usury, forbade tournaments, protected clergy / pilgrims / merchants / peasants, and prohibited the use of crossbows / archers against Christians. Finally, it formally annulled the ordinances of the schismatic party and condemned certain heretical movements that rejected core sacraments and church order. Lateran II was the second ecumenical council since the schism from Constantinople in 1054 AD. The Third Lateran Council, the 11th Ecumenical Council, was held in Rome from March 1179 AD to condemn Albigensianism and Waldensianism. The council promulgated 27 canons. The Third Lateran Council was held in Rome on March 1179 under Pope Alexander III, following the reconciliation reached at Venice 1177 AD, which ended a long, bitter conflict between the papacy and Emperor Frederick I. After the disputed papal election of 1159, when Pope Alexander III faced a line of imperial-backed anti-popes, Victor IV, then Pascal III, then Callistus III. Having secured peace with the emperor, Alexander III convened this council to heal the schism, restore order, and reform abuses across the Latin Church. The council opened on 5 March 1179 AD and issued its canons in a final session on 19 March the same year. The council's 27 canons focused first on preventing another papal schism. It established the famous rule that a valid pope must be elected by a 2/3 majority of the cardinals, Canon 1, and it voided appointments and acts made by the anti-popes and their supporters, Canon 2. It also advanced sweeping reforms, Setting minimum ages and competency expectations for clergy with the care of souls. Canon 3. Restricting the financial burdens of episcopal visitations. Canon 4. Regulating ordinations without secure support. Canon 5. Tightening due process around excommunication/appeals. Canon 6. Forbidding fees for sacraments and church rites. Canon 7. Canon 9 recalls the military orders of the Templars and the Hospitallers to the observation of canonical regulations, from which the churches dependent on them are in no wise exempt. Canon 11 forbids clerics to receive women in their houses, or to frequent, without necessity, the monasteries of nuns. Canon 14 forbids laymen to transfer to other laymen the tithes which they possess, under pain of being debarred from the communion of the faithful and deprived of Christian burial. Canon 18 provides for the establishment in every cathedral church of a school for poor clerics. Canon 14, excommunication aimed at those who levy contributions on churches and churchmen without the consent of the bishop and clergy. Canon 20 was interesting in that it forbids death games. We forbid those abominable jousts and fairs, which are commonly called tournaments, in which knights come together by agreement and rashly engage in showing off their physical prowess and daring, and which often result in human deaths and danger to souls. If any of them dies on these occasions, although forgiveness is not to be denied him when he requests it, he is to be deprived of a church burial. Lateran III was the third ecumenical council since the schism from Constantinople in 1054 AD, though Eastern Church representatives were present at the council. The Fourth Lateran Council, the 12th Ecumenical Council, was held in Rome from November 11, 1215 AD to discuss a number of topics including the Crusade. The council promulgated 71 constitutions. The Fourth Lateran Council was held in Rome in November 1215 AD under Pope Innocent III. It is widely regarded as the most important council of the medieval period. Pope Innocent III intended the council to be a comprehensive renewal of the Church, addressing doctrine, discipline, moral reform, church governance, heresy, and the organization of a new crusade. A very large number of the clergy were present at the Fourth Lateran Council. Often referred to as the General Council of Lateran, without further qualification, or, again, as the Great Council. Due to the large attendance, 71 patriarchs and metropolitans, including the patriarchs of Constantinople and of Jerusalem, 412 bishops, and 900 abbots and priors were present. The patriarchs of Antioch and Alexandria were represented by delegates. Envoys appeared from Emperor Frederick II, from Henry, Latin Emperor of Constantinople, from the kings of France, England, Aragon, Hungary, Cyprus, and Jerusalem, and from other princes. The Fifth Constitution asserted the primacy of the Roman Church and formally ranked the patriarchal sees after Rome as Constantinople, Alexandria, Antioch and Jerusalem, in line with the Church's long-standing tradition while insisting on obedience to the Pope. Most of the constitutions dealt with discipline and reform. These included clerical morality, dress, behavior, education, benefices, episcopal elections, judicial procedure, tithes, simony, and church finances. The council mandated annual confession and Easter communion, enforced the seal of confession, required schools for the poor, regulated marriage law, clarified legal processes, and restricted abuses by both clerics and secular authorities. It also legislated extensively on relations with Jews, crusade obligations, and peace within Christendom. The new crusade to recover the Holy Land was set to commence on June 1, 1217. Although Innocent III died shortly after the council, the Fourth Lateran Council stood as a comprehensive legislative summit of medieval Catholicism, shaping canon law, theology, pastoral practice, and church governance for centuries. Lateran IV was the fourth ecumenical council since the schism from Constantinople in 1054 AD, though Eastern Church representatives were present at the council. The First Council of Lyons, the 13th Ecumenical Council, opened on June 28, 1245 AD at St. John the Baptist Church to discuss Emperor Frederick II in Jerusalem. The council promulgated 22 canons. The First Council of Lyons was held in 1245 AD under Pope Innocent IV, during a period of intense conflict between the church and secular power. The council was convened outside imperial control, in Lyons, due to Frederick's political pressure and military interference. After prolonged conflict, broken oaths, violations of church rights, interference with clergy, and defiance of papal authority, the council formally declared Emperor Frederick II deposed from imperial dignity. Unlike earlier medieval councils, Lyons I did not focus heavily on doctrinal clarification or moral reforms. Instead, it produced a series of legal and administrative constitutions, concerned with judicial procedure, church governance, elections, appeals, excommunication, and the proper administration of ecclesiastical goods, its concern for the stability of Christendom, and its role as a legal and administrative center. Lyons I was the fifth ecumenical council since the schism from Constantinople in 1054 AD, though Eastern Church representatives were present at the council. The Second Council of Lyons, the 14th Ecumenical Council, opened on June 28, 1245 AD at St. John the Baptist Church to discuss Emperor Frederick II in Jerusalem. The council promulgated 31 canons. The Second Council of Lyons was convened in 1274 under Pope Gregory X. The papacy had recently endured a prolonged vacancy, while the Byzantine Empire recently reconquested Constantinople in 1261 AD. The council aimed to reunify the Greek Orthodox Church, reform the Church, and organize another crusade. The most significant act of the council was the formal proclamation of union between the Latin Church and the Greek Church. Greek delegates accepted the primacy of the Roman Pontiff and the Latin teaching on the procession of the Holy Spirit, Filioque. This union, however, was short-lived and it collapsed soon after the council following the death of Pope Gregory X. The council also approved measures to support a crusade for the Holy Land, including the imposition of a universal ecclesiastical tax, but the project never materialized. In matters of church governance, the council issued important constitutions, most notably establishing the conclave system for papal elections, alongside reforms addressing clerical discipline, benefices, and usury. Fun fact: St. Thomas Aquinas died on his way to Lyons for this council. St. Bonaventure was at the council and met Greek ambassadors, but went to his reward shortly after on July 15, 1274 AD at Lyons, and was praised by Peter of Tarentaise, the future Innocent V, at the funeral sermon. Lyons II was the sixth ecumenical council since the schism from Constantinople in 1054 AD. At Lyons II council the schism was mended between the East and West. On June 29, on the feast of Saints Peter and Paul, Pope Gregory X celebrated Mass in the Church of St. John with the Epistle Gospel and Creed being recited in both Latin and Greek. The article Kia Patre Filioque Praesiste was sung 3 times by the Greeks. This symbolized the Greek Orthodox being reunited with Rome. Following the Council of Constantinople IV, the second major schism occurred within the Catholic Church in 1054 AD. The Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople, Patriarch Bartholomew, is considered the first among equals in honor. Though the Eastern Orthodox are not completely united under him as with the Catholic Church under the Pope. Also notable is that the Eastern Orthodox churches are not the same as the Oriental Orthodox churches, which separated from the Catholic Church in 451 AD. They comprise 6 sui juris/autocephalous churches: the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria, Syriac Orthodox Church of Antioch, Armenian Apostolic Church, Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church, Ethiopian Orthodox Church, and the Eritrean Orthodox Church. While many of these Oriental and Eastern Orthodox churches have come back into full communion well after the Second Council of Lyons, Lyons II marks an important part in medieval history where the Byzantine Church accepted Rome and recanted its error. The Church is now known as the Eastern Orthodox, separated among other things because they rejected the papal primacy and the processing of the Holy Spirit in the Creed. While the Eastern Orthodox churches fully accept the first 7 ecumenical councils, Nicaea, Constantinople, I and Ephesus, Chalcedon, Constantinople II, Constantinople III and Nicaea II, they don't accept the 8th Council/Constantinople IV, as canonical. Instead they recognize their own later Synod of Constantinople, 879–880 AD, which restored Photius and effectively set aside the earlier council. The separation between East and West developed gradually, reaching its breaking point in 1054. This separation was not simply theological, but also cultural, linguistic, and political, as many of these Greek churches were located outside the majority Latin-speaking world. At the 14th Ecumenical Council of Lyons II in 1274 AD, union between East and West was achieved by the Council Fathers officially for the first time since the schism in 1054 AD. Constantine the Great fundamentally reshaped the Roman Empire by transferring the imperial capital from Rome to Constantinople in AD 330, a city he explicitly designated as Nova Roma, New Rome. This move reflected both political necessity and cultural reality. The eastern provinces were wealthier, more populous, and more stable than the West. While the empire had been administratively divided before Constantine, his foundation of Constantinople created a lasting East-West distinction that would shape both imperial governance and ecclesiastical life. Over time, the Western Empire declined and collapsed in 476, while the Eastern Empire endured as the Byzantine Empire. This political division gradually influenced church administration and prestige, especially regarding episcopal sees, without immediately breaking ecclesial communion. Rome retained primacy because of its Petrine foundation, while Constantinople gained honor because it was the imperial capital. The eventual estrangement between East and West culminated centuries later in the Great Schism of 1054, rooted not in Constantine's decision itself, but in the long-term consequences of imperial division, linguistic separation, and differing ecclesial emphases. From a Catholic perspective, the Oriental and Eastern Orthodox churches are recognized as apostolic churches that preserve valid sacraments and apostolic succession. According to the Catholic Encyclopedia, the Eastern Orthodox churches accept only the first 7 ecumenical councils and currently reject the Council of Lyons II, though it was first accepted by the Greek Orthodox. Despite the schism, the Church acknowledges the rich history, liturgical beauty, and theological astuteness of the Eastern Orthodox tradition. The already mentioned was only a short introduction on the first 14 ecumenical councils and the Eastern Orthodox Schism. We will next discuss the councils leading to the Protestant Schism in 1517 AD as we move through the Middle Ages of Church history.